So we are live. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? I know the normal crew is here. Look what I have. Welcome, Kristi and Michelle, two of my BFFs. For people who may not know it, these two ladies are in my group. And I'm going to go over to the comments and say hello to everyone first, and then we'll let the ladies introduce themselves. New England Betty Boop, who is Cash is My Purpose, and her real name is Lizette. Cynthia, hello, my friend. Hola, ¿cómo está? J. Michelle, hey, Jackie, what's going on, friend? Christy Blocker, we know who she is. And Shirley Neal. Thank you so much, everyone. Like, raise your hand, say hello. Do you guys have any devices on or something in the back? Hello. That's not me. Somebody. Okay.
Is it going? Okay.
It's on your end, Kristi, I think.
Yeah. It should be going now.
Okay. Yeah, it's going now. Yep. So I'm working. It's really important for me, and Michelle and I were just talking to my good friend Sarah, who is Sarah Styles LLC. The same way, we just bring people on. But one of the things that I do try to do often is to highlight individually or as a group people in my individual personal group. And for people who have that secret past, it's a beautiful thing. Isn't it a beautiful thing, ladies? It's like,
it is.
I say, yeah. I have this group and people are like, okay, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I can ask Michelle in a minute, like, what was her thought on that? Like, where am I going? Into the inner sanctum, right?
Yeah.
Such an incredible space. So first thing I want to do, first Maria just came on, Velva just came on, Wendy just came on, Diana. I said to Brittany yesterday, because Brittany had gone live, discount deals for you. Brittany had gone live last night with Marina. And I said to Brittany, I was like, Brittany, you're in our group. Anytime you go live, throw that post in there so we can support you. We cannot support you if we don't know. You're not going to spam us. We want to support you. And I tell people all the time that if nothing else, I know that the group is going to be there. I don't care if 4 people show, if 4 people from our group is going to be there. And I said, that's really what it's about. Everyone can't show up every single day. Right. At least you'll have us and you're not just out there, because you can have all these numbers and you ladies know, you go live and you're like, oh, it's only like 4 people here. So it's like any support you can get, take it. Summer, hello. Sam, hello. Seattle Pasha, hello. Thank you for subscribing today. I appreciate everybody that came on my live earlier today. Your support is wonderful. I'm going to start with my good friend Kristi and Michelle from the same city. And I talk about this all the time. One thing I love about that, it keeps a connection for me. I love to see her shop and talk about the things that she's doing. She and her son are at the place eating a cheesesteak and the drinks. And the drinks I don't drink, but my kids used to drink that. They can go right to the corner store, get the cheesesteak for like $2-3, and then get the chips and the soda. So I really love watching Kristi because even though I'm only 45 minutes away, nobody's going back and forth. So I love watching her because I'm like, wow, she's in my city. And I met Kristi last year at a Posh and Sip. Yep. And Nikki had the Posh and Sip along with Kaya and C. And it's so funny that Kristi lives in the neighborhood that I moved out of 8 years ago before I moved here to Delaware, my last neighborhood, Germantown. And my children actually used to walk by her house every day and go to school. So it's so people. We did not meet people until that virtually. And of course, we've seen each other in person and been to a couple of Posh and Sips and stuff, but it's amazing how life is, right? Yeah. So, Kristi, introduce yourself to everyone. Just, say whatever you want to say, who you are, a little bit about your reselling.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kristi. I'm from my business is Kristi's Addict.
Now it's time to do
Excuse all this. I live in Germantown. I have a son and a daughter. Both of them help me out. And my mom, Cheryl Neal. Shout out to Cheryl Neal. And my sister, hey sis, Jackie, J. Michelle. I've been a reseller since before time, probably. Like I said, probably since I was 14, I got started. First started on the streets of Philadelphia, yes. And And then I started on eBay, and then I went to other platforms, and then I went to Posh, and now, so now I'm on Posh. I'm, still work a regular job, and I'm working Posh, trying to work it more so than what I was years ago. I'm trying to make it, be consistent, especially being in this group, trying to be consistent, trying to keep up with the ladies.
Yeah. Listen. I have more for you, but I've been holding off because I don't want y'all to be afraid of what I'm trying to do. Listen. I don't want y'all to be afraid of what I'm trying to bring to the table here for everybody. It's just really just pushing everybody, and we already have things that we're doing, which I love. But what can you imagine going beyond anything you ever thought of? It doesn't matter if you're just like, if you work and you're part-time or if you're home with your children, it doesn't matter. There's so much potential for growth. You might tap into something that you've been thinking about doing for a while. I'm going to come back to you, Kristi.
Okay.
I want to quickly say hello to Margaret and Nikki came in. Hello, friends. Thank you for your support.
Hey.
I love seeing everybody's name pop up. It brings me so much joy. And Michelle, hello. Michelle,
hi.
In my group. She's one of my newer friends. And I forget how you found me. We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But all of a sudden, but that's how it happens all the time. Margaret and Michelle literally in the same week. Both kind of, yes, they both started like interacting. They probably had followed me, but they were interacting. And I think individually sent me DMs. Michelle is still consistent with it. She literally looks at my stories every single day, and that is very uplifting. And there's a lot of people who do, but just seriously, so it fills my spirit every day to see that. And then the connection was made. I don't believe that things happen by accident, regardless if it's things that take people away or whatever. There are reasons for everything to happen. In this world, we have to go through life, and life happens to us. And so if you look at it from that perspective, it happens for a reason, because if it didn't happen for a reason, it wouldn't happen.
Yep.
You see, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you can't, like, it happened. It's, so whether you can control it or not, it has happened. So Michelle, introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you sell, and then at the end of that, tell us how you found me.
Okay. Well, I'm Michelle. I'm with Courageously Thriving. I started reselling when about 15 plus years ago. I had my own brick and mortar store. And when I had to close my brick and mortar store, I had excessive inventory that I needed to get rid of. And so I opened a flea market booth. I was raised by a single father who also sold in flea market booths as I grew up. And so I already had that knowledge there from him. He was electronics, so it was a totally different ballpark, but hey, I knew the bases. And so that was an easy way for me to make money back on inventory that I had stored in my brick and mortar store. And then I started selling on eBay when I found eBay. And I thought, hey, this is great. I don't have to go set up at a flea market. I don't have to go set up the booth and go in every week to, make sure my area is cleaned up and everything like that. And so that was also a great way to get rid of my little girl's clothes during the time too. And so I did that for several years off and on, and I worked in corporate world during that time. And then in 2017, I had an unexpected surprise, and we were having our second little girl 14 years later. So it's like starting over.
Yes.
And so I didn't want to go back to work. I wanted to be able to experience that, even though, I would have, and, definitely would have done anything I had to for our family. But that's when I found Poshmark also. And so I was doing eBay and Poshmark and was able to make that extra income to be able to stay at home with her. And so that's where I'm at now. I also sell on Etsy and Mercari now, and am branching out to Depop. So I just keep, there's nowhere but up from here for me. So I'm going to just keep failing forward, like Leslie says. And I just love that. I do. I really do. And how I found you, Leslie, is I was following, before I even had an Instagram account, I was following Sarah Stiles. I came across her YouTube channel, and love. I'm a very analytic data type person, and so I thought, wow, this is amazing. And she had Leslie on her channel, and I thought, I just love her spirit. I have got to find out who this Leslie is. And so I started following your YouTube channel, and then I found you on Instagram when I started Instagram, and learning more about you, and realized that I had so much more in common and connections with you. And I love your heart. And so I, when I do, and I felt like there was just that connection, and I had to reach out to you. And so I'm glad I did. I've met a wonderful friend in you, and lots of great ladies in our group. And so I'm very blessed and thankful.
Nice. But I'm going to say nothing can stop us. We're all the way up.
Listen, I was about to do the same thing.
Yeah. Look, you guys can party with me anytime. That's why we got to get rid of this Rona so that we can, meet.
Yes,
absolutely.
Damn.
I love Sarah. I love what she's doing. We're like always on each other's channel, but I'm not like a big numbers person. I'm more, the creative is me, but I do have, I excelled in school, and then I raised, 2 children, 3 who are mathematically, don't need my help. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
That's right.
Because I can't even imagine what parents are going through now. I really can't. So, Kristi, you are like doing Kristi laughing. So I met Kristi. I first of all, I used to have a Facebook group, because a lot of people who are here were in my group. Some people who came in at the tail end, like Lizette came in at the tail end, Nikki came at the very tail end, and the group was just getting a little too crazy. I like consistency. Even with like a little group we have, if I haven't heard from you in a while, I'm like, listen, I got to make room for other people, and you can't just pop in and pop out, because we have life challenges that are real, and we need to have a safe place that we can share our challenges. And if you're going away and coming back, that doesn't work for me, because like Cynthia was telling me this week, I'm busy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be available. And I was like, listen, just try to pop in a little bit, because it's not fair to everyone if we don't just make ourselves known. You start in the morning while you're drinking coffee. Hey group, how you doing? Yeah, that's how we treat social media anyway. If you take 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, and that's your goal, you get in there and you're done. But it doesn't have to be a consistent 10, 20 minutes. You can start off the morning 5 minutes. I'm drinking my coffee. The little one, you're feeding her, and you're doing that first 5 minutes just to kind of see what's going on. Some people followed me. Let me see if I want to follow them back. Some people commented. Let me comment back. And that's it. We make it more difficult than it really needs to be. It's not that serious at all. And that's how I'm able to maintain, how I'm on. Daniela, I see you. Hello, friend. Hello, Shauna, Neil. I see from people who are on this end, they know it's a little challenging to look at the comments. So it's easier when it's just one person trying to hold a conversation. You don't want to be rude. And so Kristi was on for like a while, and we were doing our Zoom chats at night and things like that. And I got to like know her, because after I met her at the Posh and Sip, I was like, hey, I got this group. And she came right on. She met Kristi and Wanda at the same time, and they came right in. And so it's been like, she's been hanging with us ever since, Yes. And I used to tease her, because when we used to do the Zooms at night, she used to talk about her space and the stuff that she even from the first person she was sitting down with Thomas, and he was throwing out his knowledge. He's very knowledgeable, isn't he? He was throwing out his knowledge. So I say, Chris, hey, whatever, but she knows what she's doing. So since I'm talking about her stuff, talk about your storage units. I think you have 2. You have storage units. Why do you have storage units, and what are you doing with the items that are in your storage room? What's your game plan?
Okay, well, first of all, let me just give a shout out to my cousin who's going to get on my nerves and keep calling. Shout out to my cousin Shauna Neal and her daughter Zani. How y'all doing?
Shauna Neal, what is up, friend? Hey, is she in Philly? Where's she at? Shauna, what's
She's in Philly. Yes.
Hey.
About to tell all my business a lot of stuff. I see you.
Oh no, what happens in Philly, stay in Philly now.
That's right.
Carrie Lynn, what's going on, friend?
So I have 2 storage units. The reason why I have them is because I was storing everything in my house, and I needed it to come out. It was getting to be a bit much. And so I was like, well, I had one before when I was selling the adult toys. So let me just get another one. And so I purchased it, and I've been filling it up. I'm trying not to, but I keep telling y'all the sales be calling me. It be calling.
Let me tell you something. You know how people prepare for doomsday, right? We have no idea what's going to happen.
Yes.
What's going on. So right now, I don't believe anybody has too much inventory. I believe that this is really now the stuff that I used to talk about even a year ago. Make sure you list. Don't have a money pile. Don't have whatever pile it is you have, a freedom pile or whatever. But now Danielle and I talk about this. Hold on to your stuff, y'all, because you don't know. Don't source like crazy. And then so you have the freedom where not just spouses are going to be, irritated or whatever, but you don't have to answer to anyone like that. So I think that's really great that you can make sure you have your business stuff together and you have your storage rooms. I don't have that. My husband has more stuff than me, so there will never be you here. About 7 times the shoes I have, so that's not a word. But I think it's great now that you have the inventory. But let's go back and talk about, because people probably missed that, and you probably kind of talked about it before, but I've known you for a minute. Let's go back to the adult toys. Okay, so how we get involved in that?
So with the adult toys, I started
like a big wheel.
No, the enhancers for the relationship that we sometimes be a little tired,
So the tool toys, okay.
Well, with me, I just moved around a lot with different businesses. I just like every life, I jump around. With the adult toys, I got involved because at the time my husband knew about a lot of stuff. So I figured, let me get a business license.
Right.
Let's just go on that. So that's what I did, and he helped out. He did help out, and then he stopped, and so I got my cousin Shauna.
Okay, Shauna
helped me, and so and my other cousin Tony. So we would travel. It was a group. It was a group similar to the group that you have.
Right.
We're in, Leslie, and we all sold adult toys. We were individual. We weren't under anybody's umbrella. How you sell for
right.
others. We just had we all of us had our own businesses, and we came together. And so when somebody booked a part, we didn't do parties, but the lady Ingrid, who started it, Ingrid Ray, she said, well, I do parties. So when somebody had a party and that individual person couldn't do it, she said, then we'll give it to whoever is in the group who wants to do it, who's closer. And then we just give them like 10% of whatever we make from the party. So it was cool. So we like, oh, okay. So we was going to New York, me in the same car I had since 2004. Still
nice.
with that Honda. So that's what we did. So then it was just like, I like the adult toys. Then I like the fact that you don't have to have a party. If you just want to buy one thing, you can just buy one thing. Because some people are funny like that. I don't want a whole bunch of people in their house. And Rhonda.
I couldn't. The eyes hit me. I was like, for real, same way, because she said it, I knew it, but I said, okay, let's touch on this a little bit.
Yes. So, so we was traveling with the toys in my trunk, in my.
Wait a minute. So if you got pulled over, man, that wouldn't have been a ticket.
I got pulled over in New York. Oh. And they said
you couldn't bribe him with some
Wait, so my cousin Shauna's like,
clean.
She's like, what y'all need? And so when they did see, because it was piled up in the trunk, in the back seats, and they like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I have a party to go to. And they're like, all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
For real, for real, for real. They're like, yeah.
And it's funny because, like, so Shana and I, our 9 to 5 at our old job, we worked together. She was my supervisor.
Okay.
So my manager lived in New Jersey. So when I had pickups, when I had a party or I had to get inventory, he lived right there near the wholesale place. So I said, listen, you think you can pick up my inventory for me?
You said he, right?
So he said, okay. I said, I'll give you the toy because he was married. I said, what you and your wife need? You need something? So he was like, so he went, he picked it up, he brought it in. He was like, that was so fun. He was like, let me know when you have another pickup because I'll be glad to go. It's big in there. And I was like, all right, yes. So that's how I started. And then I used to do set up the toy baskets. And
Rhonda, you're gonna be good, okay? You're gonna be good.
Yes, toys in the trunk. Yes, and then here's something else though. So when my husband was involved in it in Atlantic City, they used to show us the new products that was coming out, right? So it was this little boy and his grandmother. She was the creator of the gummy bears, but they was like the handcuffs out of the gummy material. It was like that. So the little boy was helping, and I was just like, "That's what I'm talking about. Keep it in the family. Keep it in the family.
It's business." Look.
When my son was probably about 3 or 4, and he was learning his ABCs, I would take him in my storage unit with the toys. Now he couldn't see stuff, but I would say, "Let's count how many boxes of this I have." So he knew his numbers. So I was okay. Listen, everybody would just look at me. That's all right. It's okay. It's all right. And then my daughter, she's older, it's a 7-year difference, but when I used to do flea markets, I used to take it to Quaker City flea market or any flea market, and I would have the mannequin with the lingerie on there, which is funny.
She's taking it down to, oh my gosh.
And I would have like a vibrator in this wooden box, and I would turn it on, and you could hear it spinning, spinning, spinning. And everybody's like, "What is
that?" Rhonda. That's
so they would say,
listen,
what is that noise? But that was a way for them to come over because he had something to be a showstopper. So
oh my God,
kids would come and I say, "No, this is not for you."
Exactly. It's not those kind of toys. Not those kind of toys. You know, it's not jets, it's not the double Dutch.
And then right. And so my daughter, I told my daughter, because you have teenagers, my thing is I never held anything back from my because they need to know. Exactly. They should know about sex and body parts and stuff. So I was telling my daughter would come with me when I did the flea market. So some people would get offended, and just look at me and look at my daughter, and I say, "Hey, you have questions? My daughter's right there. If you don't feel comfortable, you can come to me." Yeah. But I was like, keep it at A. Everybody else keep it in the family. Why we keep it in the family? What's the difference?
For real.
So I did get kicked out, but I made money.
Hey, listen, look, let me tell you, because it's a young lady I met here. Well, she's probably a couple years younger than me, but I met her at a vending when I first moved here to Delaware. Every weekend I used to vend, and she was next to me, and she sells adult toys. And I was like, okay. I said, my son used to come with me. he was still he was in middle school. He was 8 years old. He was vending with me, and I was like, well, that's what she got. It's edibles and all kinds of stuff, and all kinds of stuff. So we have that conversation in between, but most of the time he have on his headphones in his game, whatever. But hey, let's keep it real. And in Germantown, I lived across the street from the place. So it was traffic coming in and out of there.
Right.
Like, yes. Oh my gosh.
I used to go in there and I sat with the young lady who was in there. Her and I used to talk. Because my thing is, listen, I'll talk to anybody and I'll tell you, oh, okay. And I'll ask her questions. Well, how is this working for you? Because, it's not pretty much working for me. Or just like a lot of businesses that opened up on Germantown Avenue, in particular, it's a clothing store. And when I went to New York I think it was last year or the year before, and I met the young lady who runs the store. And I said, "Oh, I remember you." And she was like, "You do?" And I was like, "Yeah, we were in New York."
Oh, nice.
I said, I do a clothes. I sell mine online." And she was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Listen, and I'm asking her questions and stuff. What is that working for you? Because to me, it's hard. Going back to Rhonda, it's hard finding those plus size clothing."
Wait, I gotta grab a napkin because I'm like up over here. Like, you know what? This one is lit, y'all. I'm like, what is going on? But hey, Rhonda is right. It is definitely teaching about generational wealth. You shouldn't be embarrassed. Like, it's really no different than like families who, like own funeral homes and different things like that, beauty, companies and stuff. So, hey, and then people from all over the country. And that's like, we know from Philly, it's like a melting pot. It used to bother me when people of color used to get mad when people from other countries used to come in, but you don't want to run a business. So what you got a problem with for?
Right,
right. I like having me a Chinese food store in every corner because I was like, yeah, I like their chicken, but I don't like their, and inexpensive. That's how when I was a single mom, I would be able to get my children some, treats. Same thing we were talking about the corner store. You go to the corner store and my son would love it. $5, you could go get him a whole meal. And, but I love that generation that they keep it in the family.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family. So what people think, but what we do now, they don't consider in a business. But I go, I don't work for anybody but me. And that's how I don't work for anybody but me right now. Because like you won't be at your job much longer, right, Kristi? Like how many years you have left?
I've only been with the city for 4 years.
Oh, okay, you haven't been there yet.
Right. But my previous job, I was there for 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's because my father, I told you he retired. Both my father and my uncle retired from the water department. But my father didn't go in until he was in his 50s. He didn't start working there until he was in his 50s. And my uncle had been there for 30 years. My father retired after 20, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, so, I'm in my 40s. I never really say that out loud, so everybody just be happy.
So Shauna said, we used to try our products. It's easier to explain with someone. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, it might be a couple shy people, but you can't get from there to 51 without trying some stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey. Listen, my husband not complaining in any kind of way. So hey,
okay,
something right. So I'm saying, So hey, Camille, who else has been? Rhonda popped in after we've been being crazy up in here. Hello, friends. Yeah, we being silly, but it is okay. I know anytime Kristi's coming on, it's gonna be wild. So Michelle, let's talk to you for a few minutes. Okay. First of all, we're gonna talk personal. Michelle and I, we do have a connection, and I'm pretty sure she can relate because I do have a daughter on the spectrum. She has Asperger's, which is more of a social condition than like a serious. I have 4 cousins who are all on the autism spectrum, and my daughter Stephanie is high functioning, whereas they have to depend on their parents forever or go into a place once their parents are no longer here. And my daughter is, she'll be 23 in December. She is independent. She's never been in special ed. She had got a certificate for being a chef because she went to school, high school for that. And then she, thankfully, I don't like to call it a disability, but what I do say to people is take advantage of any services that are available. This program paid $7,000 for Stephanie to go through this chef program. Everything, knives, everything, so sometimes we have to do what we have to do. And we also have to acknowledge and understand that, one, it's not our fault, because as parents, we do go through, like, what did we do? What my pregnancy, I can't get into immunizations. I don't know. I don't go that route because I had 5 children. Right. And to me, Stephanie is healthy, and that's how I look at it. She's healthy. She played volleyball. She played soccer. She does all the other stuff. She's just social. And I think about it, like, honestly, I can sit in the house. Oh, I haven't been out of my house in 2 weeks. So I'm forcing myself to take my girls out shopping and to lunch tomorrow. So you can look at it from any kind of perspective, right? Like somebody else would say it's something wrong with your child, but then you go, well, she just like me. She don't want to deal with people,
Yes, exactly.
Go to work, do her job, come home. She go to school, never had an issue. Teachers aren't calling me, anything like that. So Michelle, she can tell her truth in a second. I don't need to speak there for her, but it's great to know people who are going through similar things as you. And especially now is when I tell people to try to find a group. Find yourself a group. I mean, go on Facebook, put a group together on Instagram. I started my my mommy group on Craigslist back in the day, because that's what we had. There wasn't anything like, Instagram and everything 20 years ago, when I needed somebody when I was home. Right. Struggling. I was like, hello, I need some friends. So put yourself a group together. If you have a 5-year-old boy, find you a group of people with 5-year-old boys, so y'all can get together. I don't know what it's like in every state in terms of social distancing, but we need interaction. If people say we're not supposed to interact with people, they are a lie. So like with me, I don't want to become a hermit. I don't want to become a person who's stuck in the house, but I'm good, because people cause trouble too. So for me, the difficulties raising a child, there really wasn't difficulties. It was the administration. It was all the other people, and I had to come in. And when you're talking about, you think I'm nice, that's when people would see a different part of me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
When I would like, well, we ain't having this. Advocate. There was once my daughter Stephanie she didn't want to go to school, and she would come home crying. And I was still married. Wasn't married, but my ex-husband was still in my life. And he said to her, what's going on? She said, a young man was bothering her. I went up to the school, and it's the same young man who had been bothering her. I went and talked to the young man. And I said, and go home and tell your mother I said. So the principal comes to me, and I said, y'all weren't doing nothing.
Yep. So
if you don't want me to get involved, you better do something. Because I don't care. You can't kick me out of school for talking to some kid that's bullying my kid.
That's right.
That's right. So if you're not going to talk to, and then the mother come up there, as the parent is, so is the child. But let me tell you something, boo. So we do have to advocate. So I have this beautiful daughter, and so Michelle, what that's our connection. What's your truth?
Yes, I also have a beautiful daughter. She's 17. She has Asperger's as well. Very high functioning. She's always been in mainstream school. If I would have known Leslie 15 years ago, then I probably would have been empowered to stay at home and homeschool my child as well. Going through that as a parent for the first time can be very challenging, especially not knowing your rights other than just knowing that you kind of feel alone. Mm-hmm. And so I do definitely recommend anybody who's going through that, reach out, find somebody that is going through the same thing, a group or somebody that can support you, because it was a very lonely time at that time. And so you do have to be an advocate for your child. And as Leslie has said too, you have to teach them to also, as they get older, to advocate for themselves, which I'm learning now even more with her. She has great grades. She's super intelligent, super smart. She has a driver's license. It's just the way, like you said, is social. It has a lot to do with that. And like Leslie said, I could sit at home and be fine without any socialization for a while. However, hers is a little different in the sense of sometimes she doesn't get some of the subtle stuff that people give off, like, okay, I'm not really interested in what you're talking about right now, but they keep talking.
Yeah.
But if you were just to meet my daughter right now, you'd have no idea.
Yeah.
And so that's, I remember when she was in grade school and got her first diagnosis, and I was, finally could say my daughter needs an IEP. She needs an individual plan. And I remember at that time, the counselor saying, well, how did they come up with that diagnosis to me? And like you said, Leslie, that's when Mama Bear steps in. That's a whole nother side of me, because when you have to advocate for your children, you find a strength within that's like nothing else for sure. And so that's definitely where I have a connection with Leslie there. And also, I know your daughter Sonia has the shunt.
Yes,
I did,
yeah.
yeah, with hydrocephalus. And my other daughter, who is 3 now, had infancy hydrocephalus. And so we did have a scare with that for a while. She has a very rare genetic disorder called MCAP. There's about 500 people in the world that have that. And so just by the grace of God, her hydrocephalus has cleared up, but she still has the disorder. So we did not have to go the shunt route. But I also had that connection with Leslie. And I just thought, wow, how amazing has God crossed our paths to have that connection, because I haven't met anybody in real life, or and now, like I said, now I'm on social media and I'm meeting people that have the same stories, but we definitely have that connection, and I just love that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's like, it's like, I used to run the church nursery, and a young lady used to bring her son in, and by the time he was 1, he couldn't walk, and he had, his head was like enlarged, and he had spina bifida. And she's been coming in, I mean, since he was like 6 months old. I'd been running it for 2 years. And that's how you go to church and have the children with you, and you find a place that you can be and work. The nurse. Yes. But so she would come in every day, and one day we just talked, and she said, I happened to be talking about my daughter Sonia, who had hydrocephalus, and she was like, oh my gosh, I don't know another single Black person whose child has hydrocephalus. My son has hydrocephalus. And he was a preemie, and that's why a lot of preemies have hydrocephalus.
Yes.
And they develop because their bodies. That's why he had spina bifida. But for me to tell her that Sonia had hydrocephalus, because I didn't know what it was, and it's a weird situation when you have multiple children, right? That you have to focus on all your children. So when something starts becoming a challenge with another child, right? So Stephanie didn't get diagnosed until she was a sophomore in high school, because I had to fight. And then her pediatrician here, we were in Philly, best children's hospital, best doctors and stuff, right? In Chesapeake. Kristi knows what I'm talking about, but it still was like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, seriously, like this is the stuff I'm getting from the teachers. I had the IEP. We had the IEP anyway, because not the educational, but the social. So you know what they want to start talking about. And but you don't get that support. You don't know what to do. I mean, to me, she's quiet. It's the squeaky wheel, it's the squeaky wheel. It's the oil. It's 5 children. You got one that's going like, look, this one is loud. This one's loud. Let me just chill. So as a mom, you're like, my child, she's so excellent. You're just like, no concerns. I don't have any problems. And that's really what it is. I don't have any issues. And then you have a baby that's born. You take her to the doctor after she's 2 weeks old, and that was the first child, because they were doing that in a month. Remember, you go for a month, immunizations. No, for her, it was 2 weeks, and they discovered that she had hydrocephalus. And they were like, go home. We'll make an appointment. You can go to the hospital tomorrow. They called me up, take her to the emergency room right now. She was shunted that night, and shunted twice since when we moved here to Delaware. Now I married a new person. We done moved to a new state. She's in a new school. She has her shunt. She needs a shunt replacement. So it's those things, Right. And that's why I stayed home. I stayed home so that I can be as present as I can. And I do say to parents, and I'm pretty sure that Michelle can relate to this, is sometimes we gotta give it up no matter what. Like, think about what it is that you really need to have. What's really important. And everyone should be going through that right now. And I said that this morning, and I also said that on Carla's live yesterday. For me, material things aren't important. People go around and they talk about, I want to give my children all the things that they need. Your need, the thing, you want to give my children all the things I didn't have when I was growing up. And I said that I did that. It wasn't anything material. All the things that I didn't have growing up was attention, communication, dialogue. I didn't feel loved. I felt unwanted. I felt invisible. I made sure that my children knew that they were present, that they were loved, they had a safe place to be. And I tell them
exactly.
that love is anywhere that I am, that's where love will always be.
Yep.
And so that's what they need. They need all the things that they need. The wants don't mean anything. I don't do Christmas.
Exactly.
They got jobs. I don't do birthdays. They got jobs. Why do I have to do that? I teach them what's important. So now with the economy, they already know I'm not missing Christmas because my mother hasn't celebrated Christmas since I was 10. You know what I'm saying? So this is, so that was what I took a step back. I was financially broke, but I was filled every day because I could bake with my children and cook with them. I literally did their education, printing out the ABC mouse and all that other kind of stuff and just doing this stuff with them. And it was times that I was low, but I knew that there had to be an end of the tunnel. And here we are. I've got a daughter with autism, Asperger's. She's a chef. She's out of work now, but unemployment is cool, and she's home. Right. I got a daughter. They told me she would never walk, never talk. She is in pre-med program, first year in college. So just keep pushing. Listen to the system, people. And Terry, I did not know that your son was high functioning. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Terry.
So Kristi, now let's move on from the toys. Let's I'm going back to my Mattel toys. I'm like Big Wheel. I'm like Rock'em Sock'em Robot. You know, like,
I mean, some of them might be called that, but
yes. Oh my
Kristi, you're so funny.
You know what? Oh my God. Seriously. No. So what's it? Oh my gosh. Yes, Wendy, for real. Watch out. Mama Bear will take you out in I just tell him, I was like, when I'm in Delaware, I'm like, do you want Philly or do you want Delaware?
Hey.
My old job,
I love that.
My old job, I used to say, you want honey or you want vinegar?
Okay.
And, when I said that, they knew it was like to make a decision or just you can stay here and deal with it. Right. So Kristi, what are you working on now? I know last week I really love the fact that you went live on Zoom. Yes. For people who don't know about Jomar, Kristi and I grew up in the city where Jomar originated from. They did not start off as a wholesale distributor. They only started wholesaling in February 2020. So if you got bad boxes and stuff like that, that was why. This week, in the last couple of weeks, if you haven't been getting your items, so many people have DM'd me. It's been crazy.
All right.
Because they just opened up a new warehouse and they're streamlining their system. That is why they just knocked down the wall and they have a new process where they send me a message now and say, we pulled your stuff and it's in the warehouse. And then before it used to say we shipped it and it's on its way. It'll probably ship tomorrow. One thing I love, it'll be here on Saturday. Not a big deal. But people were sending me like, somebody clicked on my video. Oh, do you like work there? Because I'm like, no. So I needed that and sent them a private message. Like, let me,
Right.
But she lives in the city, Philadelphia. It's a family-owned business. They've been around for 51 years. That's what Jessica told me. I do know that because my mother used to go there for fabric. She used to make all my 80s and 90s clothes. And and I would shop there before I was a reseller. That's where I would get like a lot of my children's clothes, and they have a couple stores in the city. How many they have?
So now they shut down 2. Well, 1. So I think it's 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's South Philly, one off of Whitaker and Cedarbrook.
Cedarbrook was my main one. I know they closed down. They used to actually have a store where the actual wholesale place is. So Kristi can actually go into the physical retail store and shop. And last week they had a 50%. They had a 50% off sale, and it was funny because her inventory, I'm like, that's the inventory I saw when I was at the warehouse. I saw that inventory at the warehouse. It's so cool. So you're sourcing for items. Now, what is your goal? Are you selling on Poshmark? Are you selling on eBay? What is your reselling goal?
So I am selling on Poshmark. I'm trying to, well, not trying, but I am going to be putting on Macari. And I'm still dealing with Tracy because that was my Tracy did. I was doing good with Tracy as well. When I go, I always went to Jomar as well. And Jomar also has in their retail store the bag sale, fill a bag, which is $10. I haven't ordered from wholesale only because, like I said,
the shipping.
They want me to pay for shipping, and I have a problem with that because I live right up, like I'm right there. My storage unit is like right there, so I'm like,
I would probably say contact them again, because I said to them, if I lived here, I would be like online and going like, yeah, I'll pay for that, but just take the shipping out and I'll be right. It's literally in the neighborhood. It's in Germantown.
Yes.
And I would be right there on the side, pack it up, put Leslie Tucker on there, and I'll go.
And that's what I said. I can pick it up right there.
Yeah. So try it again, because they want all the business they can get. And for me, I even think they should bring you in as an affiliate because you're close. You know the local stores. Because I contacted them. I was like, wait a minute, I'm local. And I said, I'm a Philly girl and I've been shopping there all my life. And then Jessica called me up on the phone and she and I were talking. And then Rachel reached out to me.
Okay.
And she and I were talking. But I was like, yeah, I have, I'm pretty sure I can get people to buy your stuff. But still, yeah.
If they run my credit card, if they just look at it, they should know it because they have rewards points, and I have over 2,000 points. All I'm saying is, I mean, what's up? You know
they have a 15% off sale this weekend too, right?
You know what? Wait a minute. You might as well say I work there. I know the workers. I knew which one came from Wissahickon. I was like, wait, what did you from Wissahickon? When y'all gonna open that? Like, oh, girl, listen. I mean, you might as well say on the weekend I spend 8 hours at different places at Jomar, at my local thrift. Everybody knows me. They know, hey, Chris, how you doing? And when I don't have a shopping cart, they like, oh, what's wrong with you? and it's not the fact that I know I don't need one. It's just, to me, in my mind, I can carry everything. I'm like, I can carry it. And they're like, no, you need a shopping cart. No, if I get a shopping cart, that means I'm
get too much. Right, exactly.
They're like, well, you're going to spend anyway. I'm like, that is true.
Convincing after that, did it? Kristi, you're funny. But that's how I am. It's like when I was going to the retail stores, I might go if my Stacy Peach Boutique convinces me to. Just to kind of walk in, but I can see the back of the store from the front of the door. So I'll scan around. That's what I'm doing. If it's people in, a lot of people I'm not dealing, but I like to just carry in that way. I'm really good at budgeting. I don't go over my budget. I'm really big like that. There's a lot of people who do.
What's that?
See, because I'm a person who, when I was going to the bins, that was only twice a month. There are people who go every day, I'm like, I go in and like really get my stuff. I wait till the next shift come out and I get my stuff. But I can't do it now. There's a lot going on. Even Thomas says there's too much going on at the bins. So people will be sending me messages like, have you been to the bins? No, I have not. I'm not going because they have too many rules.
I only went to the bins twice. Like after when we met, that was the first time I was like, what, the bins? And then I took my mom. We went to Delaware. I saw Thomas and I was like, what is his name? I cannot think of. I said, I know that's Leslie's, but I can't.
Don't even start with that. I said that the other day. I said I was saying on the live yesterday that he is just too funny. Like he'll come home and say, another one of your fans. I was at the post office and I ran into one of your fans. It's so funny. And that's only because now, that I'm like online, but that's the same bins. We went there from the first time they opened. I was going for 8 years. I didn't start reselling until 4.5 years ago. So it's just, I went and he knows, I tell you, he got a lot of nerve because you go into their website, he in every picture. He's in the bins, he's standing talking to the cashier. I'm like, dude, you talking about me? But he said, one time his friends was like, your wife is really popular. I was like, yeah. And the first day they opened back up, he was in line with somebody, and they were like, "Oh, you're Leslie's husband," And he came home and said to me, "Yeah, I ran into somebody." And I was like, "Well, what was her name?" "Oh, I don't know." But then he sent me a message and told me. Okay. But I was like, "Oh," he was like, "I can't keep it straight." So, Michelle, you were talking. First of all, I noted you're selling on Etsy. Let's talk about Depop first. You're on Depop. What are you selling on Depop, and why did you decide to sell on Depop?
Well, I decided to sell on Depop because I saw you selling on Depop, and I wanted to get into vintage. And so I didn't know about Depop really until you had talked about it. And so I'm starting to sell vintage on there, a lot of 90s vintage. And so that's where I'm starting at. And I just now got my photos done for that. So I'm really excited about it. It's hard to say 90s vintage because I don't feel like the 90s is vintage. You know what I mean? Like personally, because that's stuff I wore growing up. That's stuff, I wore as a young adult. And I'm like, what? This isn't vintage. This is something I would have worn, and now my daughter's like, can I have that?
It's not something. Sure. That's what I tell people. I said, if you are 20 or older, by your age, from the year you were born into your mother, your grandparents, your great grandparents, that stuff is vintage. And it's amazing to me. When I was interested in selling on Depop, I went on. There wasn't a lot of videos because it started in England first. So it was all these British young people, talking and how they were making money and stuff. But I was like, I think I can kind of make this work. So I was feeling really big in 2018. The only thing I didn't like about Depop was the shipping structure. So I would sell these really great boots, and then the shipping would be just crazy. It just had a couple of tiers. Now it's a little bit better than it was. So I literally I didn't sell anything on Depop in 2019. I started again in May selling on Depop. But it's kind of the same. The only thing I wish they would get up to date and add more photos. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is because they only have 4. Like how Poshmark started, but they've been that way. They've been in business since like 2016, and they still only have 4 photos. But they are one of the first apps that have allowed you to take video. And the other thing that has changed is they're online, where they were strictly just apps. So it's a lot of things that I'm doing. And I took a chance and said, listen, let me try List Perfectly. I'm still not interested in the VA. I'm not interested in hiring anyone sharing. But I said, let me try it. I'll give them a month. They gave me my percentage. I found a coupon somewhere or whatever. And I used that. And by the time I did 2 sales, it paid for a little over. So I said, cool, I'm going to go into the next month. So just renewed. I love the fact that anything that I put on Etsy, not everything, and this is across the board. I don't share. I don't cross list everything. Some people do that. It gets overwhelming too much if you do that. If you stay specific, so Etsy to Depop, right? Right. Something from Poshmark that has a uniqueness, because it's not just vintage that I sell. If you go through my Depop store, it's that thing, the young kids, the stuff we used to wear, Kristi, back in the day. It's like, back in the day, my father used to fuss at me when I was 16, like, why do you want these old ugly boy sneakers that would be Shell Top and Puma? Because I couldn't say to him, because I love Run DMC and LG.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. No different than the kids today, right? You want what
right.
He was like, you want these old ugly boy shoes. I'm like, Dad, we're not defining, And so now that stuff is like $50, $60, $70 for the same Shell Top Adidas that we used to wear. Yes. Kids buy that stuff. So if you find that stuff, Shell Top Adidas, Vans, Converse. The first thing I ever sold on Depop was a pair of Vans.
Okay.
So goth type of shoes. Work boots that are all scuffed up. The stuff that I sell, Thomas goes, seriously, I'm like, sweetie, I got $120 for those shoes. Okay.
All right.
So you think young person, you don't have to model. People stay away from Depop because they think they have to model. And you don't. So I'm just giving people ideas. If you ever thought about selling on Depop, some things, whatever you heard from someone, I say try anything for yourself. Clear out the noise. You can listen to people who may be a little bit further than you or who have tried it, but now you try it for yourself and you decide if you like something. And I say, don't try it for a month and go, I gave it up. Try it for 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Then see.
All right.
The cool thing about Depop is you can share right to Instagram. They have a grid you can share, and you can put 4 pictures into it and share automatically to Instagram and promote your.
I didn't know that.
So if you look on the app, you can't do it from the computer, but the app has a little bit more video on the app, so it's a little bit more you can do. The Grateful Queen has arrived. Hello, Quimby.
Hey, Quimby.
So let's talk about your Etsy store real quick. Your Etsy stuff is awesome, and I already know why you.
Oh, thank you.
I already know why you started Etsy. I tell you, I seriously, her husband's going like, who is this Leslie? Did she put a spell on you?
No, he's actually grateful for you, Leslie, because there's been so many years that he has even told me, do this. Why aren't you doing this? Mm-hmm. And I've let that what if fear override, you know, just getting out there and doing that. And so, yeah, he's very thankful for you. And well, so that's
also with that it's also sometimes we don't think about the people in our lives that are close as people that when they say something, you're like, yeah, we're like, yeah, whatever. But now it's from somebody outside telling you that they see you. Because when I say to you, Michelle, I see you. And that's really important. Not that I'm looking at you, that I see you. I see who you are. I recognize who you are. I validate you. That's what we need. Yeah. We need somebody to kind of tell us that we've been with our spouses. And we're like, yeah, whatever. You didn't see us naked and everything, baby.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're just saying that to be nice. Yeah.
Exactly. So you do that female connection. You need that empowerment. And that's what we have here. So I totally get that. And that's why I try to continue to do the stuff that I do every single day. So your Etsy stuff, what are you doing in Etsy?
In Etsy, I have custom made thank you cards and custom made thank you stickers. And I also have some tie-dye tees. I'm going to be adding to that. It's just finding the time. My time is when the little one goes to sleep. When she's asleep, I can focus and I get so much done. So by the way, I had Leslie's ebook, and I love that, you know, she has said that before, that it's for beginners, but there's people that are not beginners that can take so much more from it too, Leslie, because when I looked at your sample schedules and different things like that, you had different life scenarios in there, and I won't get into it because I don't want to give away your ebook, but you had those sample schedules in there. And that just made a difference, because sometimes when you're in it, you don't think about it. But when you see it from an outside perspective, then you could say, oh yeah, I can do that. Just like in your stories, like, what could I do in 10 minutes this morning? So I had to think about that, because my mind's here. It's like, mommy. And then my oldest daughter, mom, I need this today. I need $20. I need that. And I get so distracted. And so, which is fine. My kids come first, but I need to learn to like schedule, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on today. And this is what I'm going to focus on during this time. And that's the important thing. And then tomorrow I can focus on that. So I can add more to those different avenues of income. And so that is helping me, and I love it. It makes me happy when I feel productive, which makes my house happy. So my husband knows when I'm not feeling productive. He's like, okay, what can I do to help you today? Because what is going on? I can because he can tell. I totally, you know, get a different headspace when I haven't been able to do the things that I wanted to do.
What's your husband? What's your husband's name?
My husband's name is Matt.
Hey, Matt. Shout out to you, your wife.
Shout out to all the supportive husbands out there.
He is a very supportive husband.
We've got Margaret too. I'm like, all these people. I'm like, look, they're gonna think you joined a cult in this person named Leslie. You know, hey Sarah.
Hey Sarah.
We shouted out your name a couple times through the course of the conversation, but yes. So Matt, we appreciate you. We thank you for letting her be a part of our tribe. Not that we let her, but you know, being understanding that she's you know, she's moving up and she's building and growing into herself. So we appreciate you for that. I think it's really important. So like for the ebook, like for me, I think it's for people, a lot of times when people who haven't purchased it and they talk about it, they think it's from the perspective of a person who is a beginner. I mean, it's a lot you can take. And also it is from my perspective, but I really sat down. And so I just rewrote it actually. Like Michelle actually purchased the first ebook the day before I released the second one. So I streamlined it. The font is better. It's nice and clean. The schedule's still in there. I still have these great bubbles. Nikki is always talking about these bubbles. That fill in.
Yeah, those are fun to fill in.
They are. It's like 100 listings. So whoever's doing a listing challenge, they're perfect. But yeah, I just think the schedule and that was based on people who were sending me asking me questions every day. And I may not, one thing I do say about me is I may not be there now, but I have been there before. So a mom who raised 5 children, how did I do that? You know, and so I had a crochet business and a dessert business, and I had a real dessert business. You know, if Kristi, like if I was there, man, you know, she's had that 7-Up cake, but I was really,
yes, I did.
I was really baking. And so I would have people come and pick up cakes and stuff like that. And that extra money was great. But I've been there, you know, I have a daughter at one time who considered, you know, special needs because she had hydrocephalus and I had to make sure she was okay. And so I've been homeschooled. I've been married. I've been divorced. I've been a lot of things. So I may not be able to meet you right now because I'm 51, but I can give you like a little bit of experience and maybe put you in contact with someone who is kind of going with that now. Because we do have Nikki, who has a 5-year-old. We do have Margaret, who has a 5-year-old. We have Michelle, who has a 17-year-old. Maybe your child is interested in getting a job and you're kind of concerned because they're, you know, they have Asperger's and you don't know what direction. But that's what the community is all about. When you send me a message, I may not know where a specific person is. And I say this all the time. I may know that Kristi lives in Philly. And that's all I got to do is say, Kristi lives in Philly. And then from there, she may know some other people. And it may not just be selling related, you know, just how she was saying she knows people. So if I know you live somewhere, that's what I'm going to do. I did the same thing with Nikki. I'm like, oh, you in Georgia? All I had to hear was Georgia. You know, I don't know what it is compared to Atlanta, but I heard Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Velva may live 2 hours away, but Rosalind's in the middle, and then Nikki's here, but at least that connection, you know. So so we may not all be in the same place, but yes. Oh, so Shauna says 7-Up. Yeah, Kristi, Kristi has the recipe.
Yes,
buy it now because that's that recipe is like 80 years old or something like that. It's my family recipe. She and Jackie were saying their family. You know, what they were saying. My dad makes 7-Up cake or something.
Our grandfather. That was his thing. 7-Up cake. Yep. Yeah.
But gosh, my throat. Daniela was saying this last night that when you talk a lot, you need to drink water because it's really like get me. So we're going to be ending soon. Kristi equals hello reselling family. Yes. The family. Let's talk about that. Every morning I go and click on Kristi's stories, but I know Kristi and I know why she does what she does, and I know why we have our community. Our group is super awesome. We don't have any room right now, and I say that sometimes, but I bring special people in. You have to kind of pass like a specific test. Sometimes I ask the group, and sometimes I just know who is going to be a good fit. When I first did that, it wasn't like that, but now because of this year, we all need something. You know, our girlfriend Nikki needed us, man. When I say we showed up, whew, you give this group an assignment, they show up, they show off, they show out, and they just keep growing and doing stuff. I'm going to make myself cry in a second. But seriously, but Kristi, what do you post every morning, and what does that mean to you?
So every morning, I post, good morning, family. Have a blessed day. Be sure to say thank you to God for waking up and bringing you safely home. Love y'all. Not only do I post it there, but I send it to family members as well and friends that we're all, because I always think we're all family. We all family. We all have one father. That's the way I look at it.
Indeed.
So, and that's because the way, you know, when you go through things, at the end of the day, family is what you need. Nothing else. Is just you. Everybody want to be heard. Everybody want to be respected. And I really did that because at the time, like I'm now separated from my husband. So that was my sense of what would make me feel better. You know, so I do that just to tell everybody, hey, I love you. Because, you know, people want to know, and I want you to feel the love that I have, you know. And so my thing is, if they could put a smile on somebody's face, hey, what's hard about saying, I love you, have a blessed day.
And this is the thing that's so important that I love about that. But I love anyone who's showing their heart. I love people who are revealing their heart and who live in humility. That's really important to me. It's you're not boasting. You're just talking about and you're sharing your love. And I believe that there's one Father too, and He sent His Son, and because of Him, I'm here today. So you can believe in the universe or whatever. We're not trying to take you to church or anything like that. But I think it's really important to have some type of spiritual grounding because without it, you can flounder. But what I love about the fact that what Kristi is saying is that Our group is pure example. Any group that you belong to, whether it been your girlfriends you went to college with, you and your college roommates, or people that you met along the way and you've built a friendship, this is the most important thing. I don't know what family you came from, but the family you built is so important. That's because you get a chance to pick those people. We know our families, right? We hate going to we got to go to so-and-so wedding because so-and-so going to be there. Oh my God. She having Thanksgiving this year. She can't cook, and then that on the table, that cousin you couldn't stand. That's out of obligation. We love our family, but I love to love mine from a distance. But the family that we put together, that means we purposely have decided that these are the people that we want to be around, that we want to show our life to, that we want to give our heart to. That's really important, because it's hard to be transparent. So that's the cool thing about finding like a really good tribe. And then what happens in the group stays in the group, the support and all of that. So it's such a phenomenal thing to pick your family. The reseller community has been amazing. And what I say in our group, of course, we all have friends all over. Pick a couple friends, if you want to stay with the 50, 60 club, if you want to be in the 20 club, but then you come to the 50, 60 club for a little, inspiration and advice or whatever. You can always send me a DM. Like Wendy is phenomenal. You got my girl Rhonda over there. But then for the younger people, you got the in between. Like you got both, which is like so weird right now. Both Nikki and Michelle have a 17-year-old, and Michelle has a 3-year-old though. But then Nikki has a 5-year-old. So, but you have that gap. You have people that now I had a kid here. So you got to think about. You got to really think about like wow, that's right. And then you can think about Kristi. You can think about me. Somebody, somebody who's been through stuff. Like Quimby will tell you, like somebody who's been through divorce or going through something. Someone that you think that you can trust. You don't go through it alone.
Right.
The time to go through it alone. Find someone. I do not want more phone calls. I do not want to hear. We need to dig down deep and find our trust.
Yes.
So a couple questions and we're going to go. I do want to promote this. Quimby hit 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and she's having a giveaway. And I saw a couple things that I think she may have gotten from her Target box from doing. So definitely, if you're not following the Grateful Queen here on YouTube, also Quimby has a new channel called The Grateful Therapist. She's a psychotherapist during the day. So I would definitely check her out. She's been go back a couple episodes here on the podcast. On the YouTube channel. Well, to be on the podcast too. And if I didn't tell you, ladies, yours will be on the podcast. So Nikki is saying that is so true. Hey, Nikki, I saw your reels today.
I saw that.
Y'all just showing off for real.
Yes.
For real. So
super cute.
Yes. So one of the things that I want to say is that for our group, I don't know whoever else is here. If you're here and you haven't raised your hand, just raise your hand. It's 17 people here. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also let's watch my videos or let them play in the back. My goal is by the end of next week to be monetized. When I woke up this morning, I had 382 watch hours to go. If 30 people got together and just watch or just let it run, because anything can happen. Monetization. If you set goals for yourself, you never know what's going to happen. It's on my paper. I wrote that today. If you went live with me to be monetized on YouTube by December, and look where I went from here. So, but what I want to say is for the people in my group, because I have these two lovely ladies here that I just want to let everybody know I appreciate you so much. You just don't know. I try to take any opportunity that I can, because for me, it's a little bit challenging. And I don't know about the people who become like, big resellers and stuff. I don't consider myself that way at all. The numbers just speak to me just continuing to show up and just be myself. So I hope that when people see as they grow, they continue to still be the same people. That if they see somebody on the street, they're not going, I ain't got time for that. Look, I'm like, look, I want to know who you are. I'm like, if it's Michelle, don't tell me you're courageously thriving. What is your name? That's what I know. I did that all at Posh Fest and Posh Party Live last year because they're like, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, you know how many people in my community? But I want to know who you are. So I just want to thank you for continuing to show up. Actually, Daniela, you're up to, I think you have, I just saw yours. You're at 371, I think, because I just watched your latest video. So Daniela's growing because she just did some tweaks. Same thing. If you do some tweaks for people who are trying to grow on YouTube, but this group is amazing. No, I didn't get it. I don't think I got a voicemail. I'm gonna have to check that later. Okay. But I do want to say to everybody, you guys are phenomenal. For everyone who is subscribers, but for everybody who's in my community, we're all a community. I'm not your leader. You're not following me. You're a community. I don't care what Instagram calls you. But I can't reach out to all of you. If you want to friend me like these ladies, just keep showing up. And then we'll send me DMs. Let's have conversations. You never know. You might be a part of the group. I don't know. I'm thinking about having a Zoom chat. If you guys want me to, send me a DM on Saturday. I am doing a passion sip that somebody invited me to, but at 12 o'clock in the PM Eastern Standard Time. But thank you so much, everyone. These lovely ladies, do you have any questions? Any questions? What's she saying here? What is Shauna talking about over here? Thomas is going to be like, what are you talking? He's like, every time I'm done, he's like, is the party over? Because it's always right underneath me. He's like, yes, it's good stuff like that. I mean, all the beautiful ladies. It's been a powerful situation here. CL Pasha, thank you for coming. Nikki, thank you for coming. Daniela, Shauna, Philly in the house representing. Margaret, what is going on? Diana, Roxy, Quimby, everybody, so many people, Lizette, everybody. Thank you so much. Ladies, you have any final words you want to throw in?
I was going to say to Shauna, so the other day, her daughter called me Zani. Hey, Zani. And she said, I'm thinking about doing, thinking about Shopify. And this guy is she was saying he was having something and he was charging, I think it was like 100 or something like that. I said, no. I said, let me tell you who you go to. You go to Leslie. I said, go Retailer's Passion. I sent her your link, so she should be watching all that. Oh, my mom said, good to see you, Leslie.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Cheryl. But this is what I want to tell you too. You guys can try Skillshare, which is an app where you can take lessons and things like that. If you go to Lori's Boston Found, our good friend Lori,
hey, Lori.
Co-host of Thrift and Filler with our girl Ivy and Blush Bottega. Daniela, Lori has a coupon. Daniela, if you're still here, is it 30 days? She's saying bye. Don't go away yet. But she has a coupon. I use mine for somebody else, but I'm going to go and use Lori's with a different email. But it's free courses so it's courses for everything. Today I was kind of playing around. I actually some life coaching and different stuff, but it's all kinds of courses. And Daniela said that too. So just go to Lori's YouTube channel.
Okay.
Use her code and you get yes. So how long is the code good for, Daniela? She says, I'm obsessed with Skillshare. But if you use Lori's code, I think I want to say 30 days, but for 30 days you could go and you can do a course a week or something. Because I used to teach on Skillshare. I used to teach crocheting on Skillshare when they first came. Okay, so Daniela says she thinks it's 2 months. So definitely go. Everybody here should be using Lori's code to go to Skillshare. Any kind of thing that you ever wanted to learn, just type it in at the top. I typed in reselling just to see, but it was just people doing like dashboards and kind of weird stuff like that. So, but yeah, so definitely check it out. Any kind of course you're interested in, but definitely tell her to contact me because I have 2 Shopify stores. And, everything you need to know is on free sites, YouTube University. I have courses coming, but they're for different kind of things, and I'm not charging as much as so many people want to charge. So I want to thank you ladies for coming on.